English Language Arts, Module 1 Overview, Grade 6, Myths, Not Just Long Ago. Guiding questions: what is the hero's journey? What makes a myth? Why do myths matter? And the big ideas? The hero's journey is an archetypal storyline used over the course of centuries. The hero's journey helps us to better understand characters in literature and their response to challenges. All stories have universal elements and themes. There are 3 units in each module. Each unit has 2 assessments. Mid-Unit 1 assessment, inferring about the main character in The Lightning Thief. Using a graphic organizer and a series of short responses, describe how Percy responds to a challenge he faces in this excerpt, and then what they, as readers, confer about him based on his response. This is a reading assessment and not intended to formally assess students' writing. Most students will write their responses, in which case it may also be appropriate to assess using Writing Standards 6.9. However, if necessary, students may dictate their answers to an adult. End of Unit 1, On-Demand Written Analysis, drawing evidence from the text, written analysis of how Percy's experiences align with the hero's journey. Students will write a short analytical response that answers the question and supports their position with evidence from the novel and from the informational text, The Hero's Journey. After reading Chapter 8 of The Lightning Thief, students will complete a graphic organizer. They will also respond to how do Percy's experiences in Chapter 8 align with the hero's journey. Mid-Unit 2 Analytical mini-essay about elements in the theme of the myth of Prometheus. Students will write an analytical mini-essay responding to the following prompts. What are significant elements of mythology in the story of Prometheus? Explain how elements of mythology contained in the plot make Prometheus a classic myth. What is an important theme in the myth of Prometheus, and what key details from the myth contribute to this theme? The mini-essay contains 2 body paragraphs. Elements of the myth that they see in Prometheus, theme of the myth, 1-sentence introduction, and a brief conclusion to explain how an element of mythology connects to a theme of the myth. End of Unit 2 is On-Demand Writing. It is a literary analysis connecting themes in Cronus and The Lightning Thief. Students will write the literary analysis responding to the following prompts. What is a theme that connects the myth of Cronus and The Lightning Thief? The literary analysis will need to include a summarizing of the myth and present a theme that connects the myth with the novel. They need to describe how the theme is communicated in the myth. They need to describe how the theme is communicated in The Lightning Thief, and explain why myths still matter and why the author may have chosen to include this myth in the novel. Mid-Unit 3 assessment is a crosswalk between My Hero's Journey narrative and the Hero's Journey informational text. Students will write a paragraph explaining the ways in which their own My Hero's Journey narrative follows the archetypal hero's journey. The end of Unit 3 is an on-demand writing. It's their final draft of Hero's Journey narrative. Students will engage in a series of writer's craft lessons for narrative writing to include draft, revise, and then submitting their best independent draft of their My Hero's Journey narrative. The performance task criteria will be of My Hero's Journey narrative. Through a series of narrative writing lessons, students will create their own hero's journey story that includes key elements of a myth. They will create a hero set in the ordinary world. They will create a problem and a series of events that align with the stages of the hero's journey. They will include descriptive details, sensory language, and transitional phrases to create an engaging reading experience, and write a conclusion that naturally unfolds from the series of events. Their narrative needs to include an introduction of a narrator and characters, a series of events that follows the stages of the hero's journey, transitional words and phrases to signal when time or setting has changed, sensory language and descriptive details, conclusion that makes sense, and attention to the use of conventions in 6th grade spelling words. Protocols that students and you will experience during this module will include Think, Pair, Share, Fist to 5, Carousel Brainstorm, Close Reading, Back to Back and Face to Face, Entrance Ticket, Exit Ticket, and Chalk Talk. Ways to support students will include anchor charts, charts that you make together as a class and that you create and will post and refer to, allowing additional time, sentence stems and sentence frames and paragraph frames, partially filled in notes, vocabulary supports, chunking of text, review of learning targets, review for discussion norms, word walls, audio text, displaying directions, partially filled in charts, paraphrasing, pre-highlighting text, the text that you are using for class discussion, grouping of students, graphic organizers, and models of expected work. Again, this is Module 1 for 6th grade. Thank you.